Good morning, everyone. Today I want to share with you my orthodontic journey from a patient to practicing orthodontics as a general practitioner, probably over the last 25 years. It's a bit of a long video, so I hope it's not too boring for you and I hope you find it interesting. But I thought this would be like a longer version kind of video so I can keep the story in my head just running. So first, for credibility, my name is Khaled. I have been a dentist for 20 years. I own my own dental practice, Lakeside Dental Spa in Harvey Bay in Queensland, and I took it from 1 chair to 10 chairs over the course of 14 years, and from 3 staff members to 40 staff members, and you can check my details below for credibility. So I want to tell you about my story in orthodontics and certain things I faced down the road or during the journey and how I managed to tackle them. So first, as a patient, when I was young, probably early teenager, maybe around 11 or 12 even, before being a teenager, I went to the dentist and the dentist recognized that was reading my teeth that I had a very narrow palate and high arch palate and very narrow maxilla, and I had a very big open bite. And the dentist referred me to an orthodontist, and for some reasons, my parents didn't end up taking me to an orthodontist. So, and I think I was very lucky that they didn't do that, because I 100% sure that probably around this time, back then in Egypt, they would have taken my premolars out to close this open bite. So we ignored the problem, and I ended up going to dental school and learning more about occlusion. I remember in orthodontics, second year out, we had to set up denture teeth. So you put like a wax rim and you put the teeth on them and set up the denture teeth in a way. And me acting smart, I thought I would be ahead of my class. So we haven't taken yet the wax up, how to set up the teeth on wax. We were just stopped at the wax rim step. Then I thought I would just set them up. So I looked in the mirror, I set the teeth like myself, and I set them up with an open bite, narrow arch palate. And I was showing to my teacher back then and very proud of it, and he looked at it and he laughed like, what the heck is that? What is that? Because I haven't learned yet about occlusion, so I said it with an open bite similar to mine. So fast forward, on my 4th year of dentistry, that's when I decided, learning more about orthodontics as a dental student, that maybe I need to fix my open bite and fix my crowding as well. I had some lower crowding. So I ended up going to an orthodontist that was recommended by a orthodontist, and he was really great. I mean, spent around 2.5 years in braces, but he was very clear. Oh, we're not going to do any extractions. We're going to widen your arch. Ideally, need a surgery to close the open bite. What we're going to do it non-surgical. And he aligned my upper and lower teeth, widened the arch, and managed to fix my open bite. Not to perfection, but for me it was perfect enough, because I knew I would need surgery to perfect it. So that was my first glimpse of interest, because I ended up working for him as well as a final year student, and probably one of the best jobs I ever worked. His name is Dr. Amr El-Dakruri in Egypt. He was probably one of the best orthodontists in Egypt, and I had the best time being mentored and working in his practice, one of the best practices I ever worked in. So that was my first interest in orthodontics, and I started learning about changing wires and putting brackets and bonding and debonding, but I didn't know the theory. I didn't know how to plan cases, because I was just working as a dental auxiliary for him, basically. Fast forward, I moved to Australia, and you can check my other videos about when I opened my first practice, and I started getting more interested in learning about orthodontics. Then I started doing Dr. Derek Mahoney's, or EODO, orthodontic course in Sydney. It was a 2-year course back then. You go every weekend, every month, and there's different modules from diagnosis to mixed dentition, class 2, class 3, open bite, deep bite, surgical orthodontics, retention. It just covers all the topics of orthodontics from start to finish, and was an amazing course. And Dr. Derek's philosophy was more focused on, instead of extraction mechanics to gain space to fix dental crowding, it's more about nature was supposed to give you a nice broad maxilla and a mandible that will fit into it. For some reasons, your maxilla became small because of open mouth breathing, thumb sucking, underdeveloped jaw, and when your maxilla is narrow, basically because the tongue is not sitting on the maxilla anymore, teeth are crowded, the bottom jaw has to sit back. Then we need to take you back to nature by making the maxilla wider again, reversing all the problems that cause that, and then the jaw will start to grow and align itself into position with the maxilla. Then you have not just beautiful straight teeth, but you have beautiful face, beautiful function, patients are breathing better and feeling better. So that grabbed my interest, and I started my practice to be a bit more comprehensive with my patients. Young children, they have airway problems. I used to send them to an ENT, Dr. David McIntosh in Sunshine Coast. He will look in their nose, fix what needs to be fixed, maybe remove the adenoids, remove the turbinates, give them nasal sprays to help with the airway, and help with their tonsils as well. That was my practice, my philosophy. Okay, fix airway, expand, widen the jaw, and try to put the jaw and the teeth in a good position. Then as I wanted to be a bit more comprehensive than that, I started thinking, okay, why their airways are collapsed? Why they cannot breathe well? Maybe they have allergies. Then I started sending them to an allergist as well to get them tested. They could be allergic to dust mites, dairy, cat hair, whatever the reason, and we tried to eliminate that as well. Then I wanted to be even more comprehensive. I started to look at diet and nutrition. I started sending patients to nutritionists and dietitians to see if they're eating certain food and drinks that are affecting their immune system, and by default they start to react, and then their tonsils will swell, their adenoids will swell, they open the mouth to breathe, everything starts to grow narrower and smaller. Then I start getting even more interested and look at newborns and see if they're being breastfed or not, and if they're not being breastfed because they have a tongue or a lip restriction that's preventing them from getting breastfed. I start to help newborns by doing their frenectomies as well. So I'm always thinking of being more comprehensive. This was going really well. Then I started to hit a little bit of, I wouldn't say a wall, but patients will get resistant from trying to get their airway fixed. Patients don't want to see a dietitian. They don't want to improve their lifestyle. They want to still eat in a certain way and live in a certain way. They're just expecting you as a dentist to fix their problems, and they don't want to do the work at home. Then my interest in being more comprehensive started to decline a little bit. I still offer the same things to patients, but I used to basically say, hey, if you're not going to get your airway checked, if you're not going to get your diet checked, it would be hard for me to give you stable results. Nowadays, after facing a lot of patients' resistance and I wouldn't say laziness, I would say parents are very busy with work and life, and it's hard for them to monitor their diet, monitor their kids' diet at school as well, giving them a home that's free of allergens, cleaning their sheets a lot more often, cleaning their bed, their pillows more often, and gives them environments that can have less allergic. I find this is very hard to maintain. So although I still focus on expansion and getting their airway checked, I am starting to get a little bit more open-minded towards very mainstream orthodontics, where sometimes if you can expand the maxilla, we can get them to follow a certain lifestyle, you might have to resort to extracting some teeth, lining the dentition, and accept a more flatter face, a more retruded profile, if the patient is not willing to go through the hard work of getting their lifestyle fixed. And that it was a bit of a conflict, because you believe on certain ways of doing orthodontics and you know it's the best for patients, it's the healthiest way of giving them healthiest face, healthiest function. But then if you have a group of patients who are resistant to do that, and you know it will be hard to develop everything if they're not going to follow by maintaining their lifestyle, then you might have to resort to offer more of what we call a compromise orthodontics. So now I do a mix of both, and slowly as I progress in my practice, I start to get more interest in aligners. I believe the future will go towards aligners more than braces. So for younger patients, I'll still offer expansion and expanding the jaw, but then I would wait and do their aligners when they're a bit older. So I have a combination of both. So anyway, that was my journey from start to where I am now. And I might change in the next 5 or 10 years. And my takeaway, my take-home message to you is, you're never static. You always have to evolve. You always have to look for solutions for your patients. You always have to look at what is best for your patients and try to find ways to be their coach and work with a team of ENT, dietitians, other specialists who can help you give your patients the best optimal outcome at the end. And sometimes you have to change the course of action to make sure that you don't burn out in situation as well, and you don't take those patients' problem home with you, because some patients you won't be able to fix them 100%. Some patients will be resistant to do the work at home, and you have to accept that they might end up accepting a compromised option, and maybe it's better than nothing for them, and don't feel bad about it, and as long as you give them something that they're happy with, maybe it's good enough. If you find the information helpful, make sure you like and share it with your friends and colleagues. If you want to hear more about my videos, please subscribe to my channel, turn notifications on, and you'll be notified when more videos are released. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope it wasn't too long for you, and I hope you have a great day.